Over the last year, most EV companies have outperformed other equities. This has been, of course, led by Tesla, which has seen tremendous growth since its lows in 2019. But there is a new player in the market which is quickly gaining traction: NIO. NIO is an electronic vehicle company headquartered in China that is looking to directly compete with Tesla. With all the hype surrounding the electronic vehicle market, NIO is now up over 2,000% just this year. But will it continue to rise? Today, NIO announced their third quarter earnings, and the results are pretty astounding. Let's go over what this means for NIO going forward and where I could see the price going. Is this the stock to double or triple your money on? Let's find out. If you're new here, it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to the channel and drop a like. I plan to post a lot more videos like this, and I think you will find a lot of value and entertainment here. So let's hop into the NIO chart, just to kind of give you an idea of where things are at and what they look like, in case you maybe haven't heard of the stock before. So let's jump back to the 5-year chart. So NIO IPO'd on September 12th, 2018 at a price of $6. It immediately jumped up. I think it actually IPO'd around $9.90, but don't quote me on that. And then it quickly dove down from there. Me and some friends actually bought in on IPO and sold for a very small profit, somewhere between this range here. And then, like I said, it dropped down, and it's been down pretty much ever since then. And by this year, in March, it was at a low of $2.84. It actually was quite lower. It was below $2 for quite a while, which is pretty insane to think about. If we go to the 1-year chart here, you'll see that NIO is up 2,472% in just the past year. That is $46.50 on the share price. This is, like I said, for a lot of reasons, which we will get into at this very moment. But I mean, this is an insane amount for a stock to go up in 1 year. Even Tesla hasn't gone up this much. We're currently at the all-time high, just around $50. I think it did at one point hit $50, but it didn't stay very long. So yeah, I am recording this pre-earnings report. It is coming out in a couple hours, but the stock is actually up 6% on the day, just based on, I don't even know, hype or whatever. I think people maybe are anticipating a good earnings report, but right now is really not the time to buy, because it is, I mean, this earnings report is going to be very volatile. It could make the stock go up to $60 overnight, or it could drop it down to $40. We don't really know. But I'm feeling semi-confident after doing some more research. So before we jump in, let me just show you what Tesla has been doing compared to NIO, so you kind of get an idea of where things are going. So Tesla is up 9% on the day. Let's go to the 1-year chart here. So Tesla is up 532% in the past year, which is pretty insane. I remember in 2019 when there was so much bearish news on Tesla, and that was actually when I bought my shares, because it was around the same time that they were starting to get more on track with delivery estimates and getting closer and closer to profitability. The articles I was seeing at the time really just didn't make sense. So over the last 5 years, Tesla is up 1,000% compared to NIO's over 2,000% in 1 year. So let's take a look at the earnings preview and see what we can expect and where things might be going. So this is on Yahoo Finance, or actually Yahoo Lifestyle, but so the consensus estimate compiled by Bloomberg expects NIO to post an adjusted loss per share of 17 cents for its third quarter, compared to a loss of 34 cents for the same period a year ago. So it's really closing the gap on its loss. Like I said in my previous video, new companies like this expect to take a loss for a while. They inject and invest so much money into their company to get it going that it takes a little bit for the market to catch up and for them to start making a profit. So this is totally expected. Revenue is expected to come in at $663 million, a 153% increase from a year ago, and gross margins for the company are forecast at 11.25%. So the main reason the stock has rallied so much over the last year is for a few reasons other than just overall hype. I mean, there's quite a few reasons, but here are 3 really big ones that I want to go over right now. The first is a liquidity injection earlier this year, so let's look at what that means. So Chinese electric vehicle startup NIO has secured a $1 billion investment from a bunch of different state-owned companies in return for agreeing to establish headquarters in the city's economic development hotspot and giving up a stake in one of its business units. So this is really huge news, and something that I actually saw another creator, I think George Perez, talking about, and that is that the way China is structured, government has a hand in every business that goes on there, especially large companies. Being a socialist nation, or communist rather, with a I mean, there's definitely capitalism going on in China. It's an interesting situation. We're not going to get too much into that right now. But basically, the thing that I wanted to note here, once again, I got this from the channel of George Perez, I'm pretty sure, I'll put the link in the description, is that the Chinese government wants there to be more Chinese-made products in the country. Same way that they blocked out all social media platforms from America from being used in the country, they want only, or majority, Chinese companies to be operating there. This is why they're going to give much more money to NIO and other Chinese electric vehicle companies rather than to Tesla. The second thing that I want to talk about is how NIO launched a battery subscription service to lower the electronic vehicle purchase price. So this is from August 2020. Chinese electronic vehicle company NIO on Thursday announced the launch of its new battery service, which will allow drivers to buy an electronic vehicle at a lower price by subscribing to the battery pack separately. It's basically a different thing than charging up your car like you would a Tesla. It's very high tech, and this here kind of gives you a better example of what it is. The battery as a service model has long been planned with our unique battery swap technologies. The successful launch of the battery as a service model will enable NIO users to benefit from the lower initial purchase price of our products, flexible battery upgrade options, and assurance of battery performance. As of today, NIO has deployed 143 battery swap stations across 64 cities in China and completed over 800,000 battery swaps for our users. This is a very bullish thing to say. Almost the way that Tesla has set up charging stations across the country, they have set up battery swap stations, and it clearly is working pretty well considering they have done 800,000 battery swaps for their users. And finally, the other big news that came out this year is that NIO plans for a global expansion starting with Europe later this year, and this came out in August 2020. So whether this happens in the next month or maybe early next year, this is also very huge news because their cars do have a lot of hype, and this whole idea of battery swapping and a bunch of other things about their cars is very attractive and the same way that there was so much hype around the Tesla cars, there's going to be just as much hype around NIO, especially since they have a proven product that is already being rolled out and they are just growing and is very attractive and the same way that there was so much hype around the Tesla cars, there's going to be just as much hype around NIO, especially since they have a proven product that is already being rolled out and they are just growing, and I think this is very bullish news and something to keep an eye on. Emerging into the Western markets is a great idea, and that's the same reason that any other car maker sells in America or Europe, and it is because it's just more people. It's a more wealthy market, and there are people that are willing to pay the top price. Now, what is kind of concerning about NIO is that their valuation really doesn't make sense compared to where they're at right now. Of course, we're at a point in history where does that even matter, right? Tesla was the same way. There's a bunch of, when marijuana stocks were popular, it was the same way. While most of those came down, Tesla hasn't, and I think that's a good sign for NIO. But they are a company that is growing. I think the valuation is just based on the hype and about what the future of the automotive industry is, which I think it is electronic, or at least a good chunk of it will be electronic. But here is some very good news. NIO delivered 5,055 vehicles in October, an increase of 100% year over year. In 2020, deliveries jumped to 31,430 vehicles, a 111.4 spike compared to the last year. And of course, the biggest news to come out on the bearish side has been from Citron, who downgraded the stock after once being bullish. They think it is clearly very overvalued, but at the same time, this is the company who downgraded Shopify years ago, and it's since 10x'd. So I wouldn't really, I would take their valuation with a grain of salt. But at the same time, NIO is extremely volatile. In my last video, I covered the different price predictions, and the median price prediction is 155 with a low of 44 and a high of 300. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see it go in any direction, right? There's a reason why that range is so broad, and it is because no one really knows. When a stock doesn't make any sense with its fundamentals, when it's all based on hype and speculation, it's very tough to determine what is legit and what is not. I do have some shares of NIO now. I don't have a large position by any means because it does seem quite risky. I might trade options on NIO, I'm not sure, but I am going to wait for all the hype and stuff around the earnings report to die down, all the volatility and all that before I maybe enter a position. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the link on screen right now to check out another one of our NIO videos. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll see you all in the next one.